Yes, what is up, and welcome to this week's edition of the Weekend in Rewind, the show where I announce prize winners and where I celebrate or make fun of your favorite club based on how they performed over the last few days. And we're going to start with a good weekend and me. Because first, West Ham and Chelsea ended 0-0. I predicted 1-1, so I was close, which also gives my random selector less names to choose from for the 3 FIFA 19 winners because nobody usually has the courage to predict 0-0, but there were a few. Also, I will announce the winners later, so why don't you hit that like and subscribe button while you wait, so I might consider doing this giveaway again this week. Bad weekend, me again. Because Master Editor Mike K is flying out here today to stay with me for the week as we plot how we want career mode to go this season, and to shoot my press conference on Thursday, since I've been named as the technical director and associate head coach of the San Francisco Glens PDL team, which, for your information, the PDL, or Premier Development League, is considered the 4th division in this country, but the season only runs from the beginning of May until mid-July, so it's short, which means I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing now. Nothing changes. And also, we're gonna document the whole experience, which is gonna be a lot of fun, so I really can't wait to get started on that and to get started with the players so I can give back and help the next generation be 10 times better than I ever was. So I hope you'll support me and my new club, Up the Glens. Anyway, what I meant to say earlier before I got sidetracked is that Mike K is out today, so you get to enjoy my basic editing skills instead, you lucky bastards. Good weekend, Juventus. They've played 5 games in Serie A and they have 5 wins, and Cristiano Ronaldo got the game winner versus a very tough Frosinone team away from home, so all is right in the world if you're a Juve fan, right? Or maybe not, until you actually win the Champions League and not another Scudetto or Coppa Italia. And also, would even Messi fans have to concede that Cristiano is the greatest of all time if he wins 4 consecutive Champions League trophies? Or at the very least, concede that he's the greatest winner of all time? Maybe? Possibly? Yes? No? Never? Can never say something like that? I respect it. Good weekend, bad weekend. Barcelona. The good? They fought back after being a man down and a goal down to earn a 2-2 draw with Girona at the Camp Nou to stay tied on top of the table with Real Madrid, who did what they needed to do, and their 1-0 win over Espanyol. The bad? The VAR in this game wrongfully gave a red card to Barcelona's Clément Lenglet, who I believe got fouled on the play first before his elbow inadvertently hit the opposing player's face, and it definitely got him pretty clean, but still. And to make matters worse, Messi, who was on fire this game, should have had a penalty called for him in the second half, which would have been to win the game 3-2, unless he took it, because he does have a tendency to miss penalties. But the referee swallowed his whistle and didn't call it, and he didn't check VAR either. Also, to make matters even worse than that, Real Madrid were the beneficiaries of a VAR call when Marco Asensio's goal stood up as a goal in their favor, which was the right call in the end, but I just appreciate how now all the Barcelona supporters are gonna say that La Liga is fixed and in favor of Real Madrid, and then how Madrid supporters were gonna get all defensive and then point to something that got called in Barcelona's favor like 5 years ago or something. And that pumps me up, actually. I'm not making fun of you because I love this rivalry and both sets of these supporters because you guys just get after it all the time. Good weekend, Arsenal. Because with their 2-0 win over Everton, which saw Alexander Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang not only start together like they should have been from the very beginning of the season, but also each of them scored a goal, which now gives Arsenal 5 wins in a row. Also, they got their first clean sheet of the season, and I wonder why that was. Oh, I'll tell you. Manager Unai Emery finally started a proper defensive midfielder in his starting team, also known as Lucas Torreira, and they got the shutout. And also, maybe because Petr Cech and his soft helmet made some good saves too. Bad weekend, Paul Pogba. Now I know he comes under intense scrutiny, and a lot of it for stuff that doesn't really matter, but some for stuff that does, like what happens on the field. But before I get into it, I just want to state that I think Pogba is a fantastic player, but for him to become a legend, I believe he needs to do and be even more. So for example, his first touch to set up Fred's first time hit for United's only goal against Wolverhampton was sublime. It was out of the air, it had the perfect weight on it, and if it wasn't that perfect, then Fred definitely would not have scored. But then, on Wolves' goal, he got stripped in midfield trying to do something cute, and instead of hustling back to try and get back in the play and do something on the defensive side of the ball, which he had more than enough time to do since it took Wolves a full 20 seconds to score the equalizer on a ridiculous finish by Matinho, by the way, Pogba was spotted jogging back with no real urgency. And yes, in fairness to him, United had more than enough players to make the play defensively, but that shouldn't absolve Pogba from trying to fix his own mistake and showing the effort that goes above and beyond what's expected and makes you a legend. But maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe becoming a legend isn't what he's after. Good weekend, me again. Because I said in previews and predictions that Bayern Munich was going to beat Schalke by 2 goals, and guess what happened, suckers? Bayern won by 2 goals, which proves that my predicting touch has been solid gold these last few weeks. A+, I am the master, I am a genius, but you already knew that. Bad weekend, Mamadou Sakho. Because the Crystal Palace defender had the miss of the season when he somehow put his header wide with no one in goal with 10 minutes left to go, and Palace's 0-0 draw with my favorite English club, Newcastle, which makes him my MVP of the week. Way to go, Mamadou. Good weekend, bad weekend, John McGinn. The good, the 23-year-old Scottish international scored what could be the goal of the season in all of England for Aston Villa against Sheffield Wednesday because it was an insane Zidane-esque first-time volley out of the air from 25 yards out and into the top corner. It was so good that I'm jealous that I never scored one of those in real life at any point in my career or even in FIFA. Like I'm just... The bad, Aston Villa ended up losing the game at home 2-1 to drop to 13th in the championship, so his wonder goal didn't even really matter. Bad weekend, the Seattle Sounders. After setting an MLS record by winning 9 straight games, they lost at home 1-0 last Wednesday to the resurgent Philadelphia Union, who also took down my Sporting Kansas City this weekend, so damn you, Philadelphia. And then Seattle lost to the bang average LA Galaxy 3-0 yesterday, and what a difference a week makes. Last week they were on top of the world, this week you suck. Good weekend, some goal scorers who you might have heard of before that scored some goals. Like Gervinho, who dribbled through and around a handful of defenders on his 75-yard jaunt with the ball to score one of the great goals of this new season in Parma's 2-0 win over Cagliari. Cagliari. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Or Wissam Ben Yedder scoring a hat-trick in the first half in Sevilla's big 6-2 win away from home against Levante to give Sevilla only their second win of the season. Or Gonzalo Martinez, who scored a peach of a first-time volley, which stood up as the game-winning goal for River Plate as they went into La Bombonera, which is always a difficult place to play, and got a huge 2-0 win over my Boca Juniors, even though we could argue, if you saw this game, that Boca deserved a penalty in the second half, and they didn't get one, and I'm still bitter about it, because that would have made it 1-1. They probably would have went on and won the game, but instead, we lose. Or our American Lord and Savior, Christian Pulisic, who after participating in his team not registering a shot on goal in the whole first half, which is unacceptable, and then watching his side get a red card in the second half against Hoffenheim, well, he scored the game-tying goal with 6 minutes left to go to secure the draw, a few days after he scored the game-winning goal in the Champions League against Club Brugge, so where are you at, Mexican Lord and Savior, Chucky Lozano? Never mind, Lozano was just scoring a goal on PSV Eindhoven's huge 3-0 win over Ajax, which means Ajax, who had only given up 1 goal in 5 league matches before this match, now sit 5 points behind the defending champions, which means the Eredivisie is over. I'm calling it right now. Congrats to PSV, unless they sell some of their best players like Lozano or Luc de Jong or Gaston Pereiro in the January transfer window. Then maybe Ajax has a chance to get back in it. But I don't think so. Or Bertrand Traoré, who scored 2 goals and earned a penalty in Lyon's big 4-2 win over Marseille in the Olympique derby, which now puts Lyon even on points with Marseille in 5th and only 3 points behind second place Lille. Also, I'm highlighting second place because that's the only position they should be aiming for since they are never catching PSG at the top this season. And speaking of PSG, who in their first game since losing to Liverpool, which was their first loss with Thomas Tuchel as their manager, well, they had to come from behind away from home to beat Rennes 3-1 to continue their domestic dominance. But, and I say this with all due respect to Angel Di Maria's fantastic goal, it was Eric Choupo-Moting's strike that I want to highlight because 2 weeks ago, he was playing for Stoke City, and now he's playing for PSG. And what a dream that must be. This dude owes Thomas Tuchel his life for saving him from Stoke. Or Aaron Lennon, who scored his first goal for the club and set up 2 others in Burnley's 4-0 win over Bournemouth, which was the Claret's first league win of the season, and which helps them get off the bottom of the table and jump all the way to 16th, which proves just how bad some other teams are, like Cardiff, Huddersfield, and Newcastle, who they all jumped over in the standings with just 1 win. Okay? Way to go, Burnley. Way to put Newcastle in the relegation zone. Jerks. Or Bernardo Silva, who scored with his head against Cardiff, which means if one of the smallest players on the field is banging in headers, you know it's going to be a good day for the team overall, as Manchester City demolished Cardiff 5-0. Or Willian, not Chelsea's Willian, but the one that plays for Palmeiras, after he scored the game-winning goal on his first touch of the game when he came on as a sub in the 81st minute to give his Brazilian club all 3 valuable points away from home against Sport Recife, which now puts Palmeiras 1 point behind league leader Sao Paulo, 2/3 of the way through this Brasileiro season. Or Marcelo Brozovic, who scored the game-winning goal for Inter Milan in the 93rd minute to help Inter beat Sampdoria away from home 1-0 and keep Inter's newfound belief in themselves alive and well after they also beat Tottenham in dramatic fashion earlier in the week in the Champions League. But we'll see if that actually turns into a legitimate run of form for them, because they have lacked any real consistency this season despite the overwhelming amount of talent that they have in their team. Or the two Federicos, Mattiello and Santander, who both scored in Bologna's surprising 2-0 win over Roma. But the best part was that those were the first two goals scored by Bologna this season. They had been shut out for the first 4 games, and despite that poor run of form, they are now only 1 point behind Roma, who are most definitely in a crisis, having won only 1 game this season in all competitions. Bad weekend, Monterrey fans, who tried to drive through Tigres fans with a car ahead of the big derby between these hated rivals in Liga MX this weekend, which thankfully no one was hurt from that. But then a group of Monterrey fans caught up to and then severely beat a Tigres fan who is now in serious condition at the hospital, and there's just no place in the game for this. Because banter is one thing, but physical violence is something different altogether, and obviously completely unnecessary. So I hope these perpetrators get brought to justice. Also, the game ended 0-0, not that that really matters given what happened. And finally, good weekend! The winners of FIFA 19. And incredibly, there were more than 3 of you that predicted this 0-0 scoreline, which means there are going to be quite a few of you that are going to feel hard done by because you didn't get picked despite having the right score, and I'm sorry about that. But my random selector can only pick 3 winners, and they are, drum roll please, which I'm not going to add because I don't know how to do that, DFG Clan, Vicente Carrasco, and this name I can't pronounce, so we'll figure that out later. Anyway, congratulations, and be on the lookout. I'm going to drop you a message very soon. Anyway, that is it. That is all I got. So thank you for all of your support as always, and let's do this FIFA 19 giveaway thing next week because that was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. So, yeah, I'm done. Later.